Hey, this is Dave with ImproveBackpacking.com. Today we're going to talk about the discussion of what makes a good winter tent because it's getting chilly outside. So, a couple things that you want to look at is you it needs to withstand heavy winds. When you're out backpacking, you want something that is wind resistant. To the best of its ability. There's a number of winter tents out there that have single and double walled protection, depending on where you're going to go and how cold it's going to get. Having the ability to withstand winds is one of those things that it needs to prevent the wind from coming through, and it needs to be able to. The tent needs to be able to kind of morph out of shape and then bounce back into the appropriate shape. So with that said, there's a number of things in winter tents that aren't so much in the summer, the three season tents. The winter tents are more rigid. They're going to have more thicker, more rigid poles, so they can bounce out of shape and come back into shape. Another thing, the winter tent needs to withstand or bear substantial loads. Oftentimes, when you're out winter camping, as you would know, you're going to get snowed on, and the snow can build up quickly on your tent while you're sleeping. So it's important that you find a tent that can bear that heavy load. The geodesic dome tents, you'll see, will be able to bear that load, disperse it, and help maintain the shape of the tent during a heavy snowstorm or blizzard that you might encounter. So there you go. So after it needs to retain its shape, it needs to be able to repel precipitation as well. I can't get this right for some reason. It needs to be able to repel the precipitation. It can't just allow it to sit on top. That would mean that that surface needs to be waterproof, and it needs to have a good, what they call, hydrostatic head. We talk about this in a number of our blog posts. Hydrostatic head is the ability, the hydrostatic head rating tells of the ability for a tent to prevent water from soaking through or fluid from soaking through. It's a rating that's gained with the original tests were having a fabric, having a column over it, filling that column up in measured in millimeters to the point where water starts to drip through. Okay, so the higher the hydrostatic head rating, the more the tent is going to withstand the fluid from coming through. So with that said, as it snows or the snow accumulates on the tent, it needs to be something where that pressure is not causing the fluid to come through. The other thing is, just as a side to as a side note, you never want to, in the middle of a rainstorm or snowstorm, you never want to touch the inside of your tent, because what that does is that breaks the surface tension between the outside and the inside, and when you do that, then water will be able to seep through, and that breaks any hydrostatic head rating, or it breaks the water tension, the surface tension of the water, and it allows it to come into the tent, and then water, once it finds its the least resistance, will continue to seep through. So we talked about that. The durable waterproof bottom is another thing that you need. You do not want to wake up in the morning, sitting in a puddle because water, whether that's from melting snow or just from the ground, comes up through the bottom of the tent. So it's important to keep an eye on that. We do explain this a lot more durable. We get a lot more thoroughly, and we give a number of examples in our blog post. The blog post is called "What Makes a Good Winter Tent?" It's getting chilly outside, and we will describe those the geodesic dome tents. Those are by far the most popular tent for good reason. One, it sustains it allows the tent to pick up some snow. It wafts it off. The tent has a geodesic dome tent. Has more vertical sides, and the vertical sides help the snow to not accumulate on your tent. It also has a function where a lot of times the cover goes out from the bottom, like down the side, and then the rain fly or snow fly in this case will go out and then will travel a little bit away from the tent, so that when snow does land on it, it helps keep that tent in place. So it actually acts as kind of like stakes on a tent. So that's an important thing to note. But we do describe them. We give you a little bit of a history of the geodesic dome, which is always intriguing. So check that out at improvebackpacking.com. I will have a link in the description as well. Bash that like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell so that you can get notified on our next or future recordings. And as always, be kind to one another, whether in word or in action. Have a great time out on the trail. Be safe, and have fun.